Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to our grade 6 coding class today, 8th July 2020. My name, for those of you that don't know me, is Mike Geldenes. I see most of the guys in the chat just call me Sir or Mr. G. Today, we are going to go into our second part of creating art with code. Now, yesterday we moved away from this lesson just a little bit to focus on loops and incorporating loops in our code. So today I want to get back to creating art with code, and I am going to spend some time before we actually go to the coding platform, Codeorg. Just going to spend some time with you guys in focusing on our angles. If we can remember from part 1, for those of you that were in the class, in this specific lesson, we don't just turn left or right. We actually use angles to turn. And sometimes it can be a little bit tricky if we don't keep in mind certain aspects. So I actually just wanted to spend some time with you guys on that, and just to make sure that we understand how we are going to use angles when we create images, or as the topic states, some art. And remember, guys, especially if I share this link with you, you guys can go to the first puzzle. The first puzzle in this specific lesson is an open puzzle. You can spend as much time there as possible just to practice all the commands and see what the code does when you put it together. And you can actually create some beautiful shapes. And then I want you guys to send it to me, and then I'll share it with the class and show some images of what interesting and creative objects and images you guys came up with. Okay, so what I want to do now is let's quickly see exactly what we will be focusing on today. Now, our lesson focuses on creating a program to complete an image using sequential steps. And remember, sequencing, that is the process of putting things in a particular order. Okay, and remember, that's extremely important. Otherwise, our code might not run. Then also to break complex shapes into simple parts. And then here, what I wanted to spend some time with before we actually go to code.org is understanding degrees and directions. Because I have noticed that, especially when we use directions, there is some confusion. So I just want to spend some time on that to help you guys out in your learning process. Okay, so here we go. Remember, coding or programming is the process of creating instructions for computers using programming language. And then the one that we are using here is Blockly. And at the back end, if you want to go and look at what each block actually represents, it can be shown in JavaScript. And like I've told you guys on more than one occasion, JavaScript is the most widely used computer code currently being used. So this is really a great foundation for us to start our coding journey. Sequencing, like I mentioned, the process of combining things in a particular order. And now here, this is what I want to spend some time on with you guys today. Degrees. Now, degree is a measurement of a plane angle, and then a full rotation is 360 degrees. Now, in some of the puzzles that we have done, we've only had to use left or right, okay? Or we can move, or we can just turn around by turning left or right 2 times. Now, in this specific lesson, they actually introduced angles, and then we can turn any way or any degree of measurement that we really want. Okay, so here we can see if we want to turn around all the way around 360 degrees, or not just turn around, but make a full circle and look in the same direction. That is 360 degrees. If we would just want to turn around and go in the opposite direction, 180 degrees. If we want to go straight up or straight down, but this is where I'm going to explain some things to you. Depending on which direction you face in, then your 90-degree angle would depend whether you go up, down, left, or right. 60, but we can change it to absolutely anything. So here is where I want to explain to you guys understanding degrees. Okay. For example, over here we have our artist. He's going to draw a line for us. Now, from this line, if you think about this compass, you guys might have used that in technical drawing or your math. It's an easy way for us to measure an angle. Okay. So for example, if we want our artist to turn by 30 degrees, we can just draw a line, and then our artist will draw a line at 30 degrees. And then we can do that, the same thing all the way around our compass. So we can have 60 degrees, we can turn on that. Or if we want, if there is no option to go up or down, because remember, our computer code doesn't necessarily know where up or down is unless we assign it somewhere. Because if our artist moves in a specific direction, if we just say up, he might be facing down. And then if we just say up, he might not be able to turn all the way around unless we code it in somehow. So with codes, even if he's facing downward and we say, you know, move 90 degrees, then he will turn left. Or if he's coming from, depending on which way we want him to turn. But I think you guys get the idea of the angle. And then if we want him to turn 120, that we used, I think we used that in one of our triangle puzzles we did. So, and then we will just draw 100. Now, the one thing we have to remember here, after every turn, our character faces in a different direction. Okay, and this is where we sometimes get a little bit confused of how many degrees our artists need to turn. Okay, so for example, let's look at that. Here we go. We've got our artist. He's already drawn his second line at a 30-degree angle. Now we have to remember that our new base will be that 30-degree line. Okay, so we can't keep our compass the same position as the first one over here where he started out. Our base is actually going to change to that. Now from there, you can see which direction a 30-degree angle is. Let me just quickly get my pen out here. Let's make it, sorry guys, I just quickly want to select. There we go, there's my pen. Now you guys can see 30 marker is right over here. There we go. You guys can see the blue line I just made. Okay, so then 30 will be in that direction. So we have to remember to always move our compass to where our artist is so that we understand where he needs to go, how far he needs to turn on the next one. So if we think about if he's just going to turn left from where he is now, he is going to be on the 90-degree angle over there. Okay, So I think now that one will be, if we look at our compass, that will be 120 degrees. Now, this is another thing we have to remember. We have to remember in which direction our character is facing, because that is going to depend on left or right. Okay, so this, remember our artist faced that way. So he is going to turn left by 120 degrees. Okay, and I've got another example in here for you guys. So there's our line. Let's pretend our artist moved forward. That is our 30-degree line, the same one that we have over here. That's the same one. And remember, our artist is facing in that direction. The arrow that I put in there shows you guys in which direction our artist is facing. Okay, so now we have to remember left and right. Okay, so you have to think about it in this way now of adding two compasses. There will be different directions that he turns in. Okay, so we have to either say he is going to turn left by a certain amount of degrees, or he is going to turn right by a certain amount of degrees. Okay, so if we look at our page, or on our slideshow, if it's 90, it's not just this side that is going to be left, or this side that's going to be right. From where he is currently standing, let's make it here in the middle, everything from 0 to 180 will be left, and then everything on the right-hand side of the line from 0 to 180 will be right. So we have to just make sure to keep that in our minds when we actually work with angles. Because sometimes we do want to think, okay, well, there's the 90 degrees. Everything on the left-hand side of 90 degrees is left, and everything on this side is right. Okay, and then our next point I want to spend some time with is understanding directions, because I've seen we've made some mistakes with this. So I just want to sit and focus, and it's just going to be a quick 2 slides. I want to show you guys that if we turn left, okay, it is all going to depend on which direction we come from. Because if we are moving from that way, we can be moving from that way, we can be moving from that side, we can be moving from the bottom towards the upper end of the screen, or we could be moving down. Okay, now each one of these, if I say turn left, will be in a different direction. Won't just be to the left-hand side of the screen. It will be to the left of the direction you are moving in. Okay, so pretend we are moving from this side over here. If we are going to turn left, we're going to turn in an upward direction. Okay, if we're coming from the right, if we are going to turn left, we are going to turn down. And then the last one, if we're coming from the bottom end of our screen and we're moving upwards, then turning left means we are actually going to turn left on our screen as well. And then, but if we are coming from the top of our screen, if we are going to turn left, you have to remember which way am I facing. I'm coming down, so I am looking towards the bottom end of the screen. I will be going towards the right of the screen. So you can see just by turning left, depending on the direction you come from, might be in a total different direction. So we just have to keep this in mind as well, because we cannot just say turn left and then expect our character to come to the left-hand side of our screen. Okay, I hope you guys understand that. And then the same with turning right, we also have to remember which way we're coming from. Are we coming from the left? Are we coming from the right? Are we coming from the bottom, or are we going down? So then when we come from the left, if we turn right, we will be going down. And then if we come from the right, I'm glad I see some guys say they understand. I love that. I love it when we learn something new and we understand. Okay, so then if we come from the right, if we turn right, we will go up. If we come from the bottom and we turn right, we will go to the right. That's the one that the easiest one. If we move up and we turn right, we actually move in the direction of the actual side of the screen we are talking about. And then coming from the top, if we turn right, we will actually be going to the left-hand side of the screen. So this is just a couple of things I really want you guys to keep in mind when we do code, that we have to really focus on where our character is and in which direction he is facing, so we understand in which direction to turn. Okay, so I hope that's going to help you guys a little bit while in our coding journey. So I want to go through to our platform, Codeorg. We are going to carry on with our code of creating art with code. And I just want to get the link to share with you guys. Okay. And then remember, if you guys are in, I just want you you guys just to let me know I'm in or I'm here. So sorry, I just quickly. Puzzle number 6. We were busy with puzzle number 6. And then here we go. There's the code there's the link for everybody. You can click on that, go through to the link. If you haven't done any of these puzzles yet, or if it's the first time you guys are joining us, you can go back to some of the previous lessons. You can watch the video and you can just catch up with us. So right here, let me quickly remind you guys that you can practice around, you can move blocks, see what happens. So let me ask you guys, we're going to do this one first. We always have to make sure we follow the instructions. Maybe we should make a tag for each of our pets in case they get lost. Finish this tag by drawing a rectangle around the outside. The long sides are 200 pixels each and the short sides are 100 pixels each. Now, who can remember, we spoke about this a little bit on Monday. Who can remember what is a pixel? Who can remember what is a pixel? I'm going to give you guys a moment to... Okay, Bless says he can remember. So Bless, can you tell us? I'm going to unmute you and then you can tell us what is a pixel. Hi, Bless. Yes, what is a pixel?
A pixel is the blocks that fill the screen, the little tiny blocks that if you zoom in close enough, you see them there. So those pixels are the ones that we use to draw.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, Bless. Yes, guys, like Bless just said, if we take a picture and we zoom in very, very, very closely, you will start seeing little blocks or little dots. Okay, so yes, those are pixels. And when we do coding, we use it as a measurement of length. So each line will be represented by those small little blocks or dots. and the length that we decide on would be each one of those blocks. So our artist, the long side, if we look at our instructions, the long sides are 200 pixels. So if we zoomed in on our picture, there would be 200 tiny little blocks in this one line. Okay, and that's the length of the long side that our artist needs to draw. So who can help me with this code? First, let's see, I want my tag to be, let's go for pink today. I want my tag to be pink because our pet's name is Fluffy. It sounds like a bunny or something, so I want it to be pink. So what are we going to do? What's our first step? And remember, let's go through our toolbox. What code do we have in our toolbox? We have 5 pixels. We have turn right, turn left, jump. Remember, jump is to move around without drawing a line. And then the color, random, and repeat. So what do you guys think? What will be the first thing we do? We just have to draw a rectangle around Fluffy, our name tag. There we go. I'm going, okay. Come guys, tell me, what are we going to do? What's the first thing? Move forward. Sibale, thank you. Yes, we're going to move forward. We have to change our pixels to 200. And remember, you can run your code at any time just to see what happens. So let's just run that first line, just see. There we go. So it's doing exactly what we want. It's going to draw, move forward by 200 pixels. Okay, so what are we going to do next, guys? Look at your toolbox, see what commands or actions are available, and then you guys can tell me what we're going to do. Remember, our artist is facing this way, so if we want to move down, remember there's no move down in our toolbox, so we have to turn by 90 degrees, and we are going to turn right by 90 degrees. And then we will move down. So we'll just move forward again, move forward, and we know from our instructions that our short sides are only 100 pixels. Okay, and then we will turn right, and we will just keep repeating the same commands. Turn right, move forward by 200. Turn right by 90 degrees and move forward by 100. So we can quickly reset and we can check. There we go. But before we carry on, I just want to go back here and just spend a moment here as well. I just want to show you guys, you can really play around with what we can put in a color at each side. So maybe I want each side to be a different color. So let's make the next side purple. Turn the bottom, I want orange. And the last one I want, let's make it green. Just want to take away this instruction down there. It's blocking my view a little bit. Let's make our last one the light blue. We can reset and we can run. And look at that. Each side will be a different color. So there's really a lot for you to do, even in a short puzzle like this, if we just play around a little bit with our toolbox and look at the instructions that they have available for us. Okay, so let's go to puzzle number 7. I'm going to post a new link for you guys if you guys want to come back to where I am. There we go. So now remember, we have to, our artist is facing right. So who can tell me in which direction are we going to turn? If we follow our instructions, now a tag for bell, draw this square with 200 pixel sides. Okay, so first things first, which way are we going to? Let me just quickly see if I run, if I just move forward, which way is my character facing? Is he facing in the right direction? Because maybe he's already facing in the right direction. Okay, he is facing in the right direction. So he's moving down. So I thought he was going to draw a line straight through Bell's name because I thought he was facing to the right. Because okay, so we don't have to turn our artist. He is already moving in a specific direction. So Bless said he's already finished with this one. So I'm glad you guys can manage on your own. I want my tag to be red this time. Now we know a square has 90-degree angles. All the angles in a square are identical and all the sides are identical. That's why they say draw the square with 200 pixel sides. So we've got move forward, turn. Now remember, our artist is coming down. So he is turning. You can tell me he is going to turn left or right. Which way is our artist going to turn? Left or right? You can quickly type it for me in the chat box. I want to see if you guys understand our turning. Is he going to turn left or right by 90 degrees? There we go. Bless said he is going to turn left. Yes, if we've moved up first, and he did this side over here first, he was going to turn right. But yes, thank you, Bless. He is going to turn left by 90 degrees. Now remember, we can also use our repeat blocks. I wanted to show you this in the previous one, but I forgot to do that because let's forget about it. I want to show you. So now if we wanted to move, we were going to say again, move 200, and we're going to turn left by 90. If we look at this code, we can see that it's going to start repeating. Let me put them next to each other like that, and you'll see that they are identical. Move forward by 200, turn left by 200. Once we get used to coding, you will start picking up where certain things start to repeat. Okay? If you don't spot it right away, because we knew that we're going to do the same thing 4 times, because it's a square. So 4 sides, 4 corners, we were going to do the same thing. But if we write our code and we pick up something like that where we see, oh, okay, this code is repeating, we can always bring in our repeat block, put our code inside, and we can throw away the rest. Now look at our workspace. You can see over here, we have only used 4 out of 8 blocks. But I think if we repeat this 4 times and run, we will still complete our goal. Look at that. And we've only used half the blocks that, let's go back there. We only used half the amount of blocks that they wanted us to use. So it's always nice if you pick up things like that because it shows that your mind is adjusting a little bit and you are starting to pick up patterns and things that are repeating. So repeat blocks always help you to keep your code nice and neat and as short as possible. Okay. Let's move to our challenge puzzle. Now, normally our challenge puzzles are a little bit more difficult, but I'm sure we will be able to do that. Okay, I'm going to need you guys to help me. The first thing I want to see in which direction my artist is moving. So I'm just going to run. I'm going to put a move forward just to check, because they don't always tell us in which direction our artist is facing. So we don't have to, sometimes we have to turn first before we can move. Otherwise, other times we can just start moving because he's already facing in the right direction. There we go. Okay, so we know that he is facing to the right, and we can start just by moving him. If we read our instructions, because I can see now my line is too short, can you figure out how to draw the outline? The long side is 150 pixels, and each of the short sides are 75 pixels. I'm just pasting a new link for you guys if anybody is not where we are right now. Okay, so guys, the first thing I have to change with my code that I already have in here is to change it, because our long side, our long side is 150 pixels. Okay, now I am going to turn. Now I want you guys to tell me, am I going to turn left or am I going to turn right? Am I going to turn left or am I going to turn right? I also want to show you, while I wait for some answers to come through, I want you guys to look in the toolbox, and inside each one of our commands, there are some drop-down options as well. We can see in the turn option, there is right and left. In our move option, it's move forward, move backwards. And in our degrees, we have a whole bunch of, they only gave us 4 possible or 3 possible directions to turn in. But like I explained, you can actually turn in any direction once those are available to us. Okay, so this is only 45, 90, and 120. So I have one answer from Bless. Bless said we are turning left. I just want to see. Yes, Bless said we are turning left. Okay. But Bless, remember, which way are we walking? We are walking towards the right. So which way are we going to turn? I actually think we are going to turn right by 45 degrees and not left. So let's reset and try that. Turn and move forward. Remember how far or how long is our short sides? Our short sides, according to our instructions, are 75 pixels. Okay, Mike, I'll post the link for you now. I think Mike just joined us. So let me just share the link for him quickly. There we go. There's the link. We are on puzzle number 8. Okay, there we go. And then let's move forward, or let's reset and run. Look at that. So I think it was, let me just go up in my chat box to see Bless. Bless, remember, we have to think about which direction our character is moving in before we decide, is he going to turn left or is he going to turn right? Okay. Thanks, Mike. I see Mike's in. Okay, so guys, remember now, what am I going to do here? Remember, this is our new baseline. Our character is facing in this direction. He is facing down. So which way am I going to turn now before I draw my next line? Which way am I going to turn, left or right? Maybe you guys can quickly tell me. Are we going to turn left or right? We are going to keep moving in the same direction that we are still going to remember our character is walking down here. So if he turns left, let's turn left by, I just want to show you guys if he's going to turn left. Let's just leave it by 90 degrees and move forward. We'll see what's going to happen. Reset, run. Look at that. Then he actually, remember the direction he is facing, guys, because our character is walking down on the side. So he would, if he keeps walking, he will be walking in a straight line over here. Okay, so we have to think if he's walking that way and he needs to come down towards the bottom end of the screen, he's going to turn right again. He's going to keep turning right because remember, if you walk on a line and you keep turning right, eventually you'll come back to exactly where you are. So normally if we go around something, if we want to go back to the point that we started at, we can just keep moving in the same direction. Okay, so Bless said we are going to turn right by 120 degrees. And then we will move forward again by 150. No, 75. Sorry, our short sides are only 75 pixels. Let's reset and run. Now, what happened there? Bless said, sorry. Don't be sorry, Bless. That's all right. Remember, we practice. And if we make mistakes, that's the nice thing about coding. We go back to it and we fix it. So let's go back to, so 120 is wrong. So look at that. We'll probably only turn by 45 degrees, because remember our new point is over here now. Our old point was up here. If we were standing there, then we would have turned 120 degrees. But now our new point is here and we're going to turn right. So if we put our compass over here, we will see we'll also only turn 45 degrees. Let's run that quickly. Did I change it now? I'm lying because our line is here. This is a 90-degree angle. He is going to turn by 90 degrees. There we go. If we look at this angle over here, that's a 90-degree angle. Okay, so he's going to turn 90 degrees. Now over here, this is only going to be 45 degrees again. So we will move forward by 120, 150. And then we will turn up here again. Oh, I need to turn first. Sorry, guys. I need to turn right by 45 degrees. Let's reset and run. Look at that. Now, what I can see already happening here is that code is starting to repeat itself, because this top end and the bottom end and then these two sides are identical. So I can already see that a certain code is going to start repeating itself. But we've already finished, or we've come this far, so I'm just going to carry on, and then we will go back and maybe replace it with a repeat block. Okay, so let's quickly see what's going to happen next. If you guys can quickly tell me, which way am I going to turn and by how much will I be turning? Okay, now we are going to turn right by 90 degrees. Remember, we're going to do this turn first here. This turn is not going to be 90 degrees. This turn over here will be 90 degrees. The first one will be, or did we turn already? Move forward 150. We are going to turn right by 45 first. There we go. Our where to said we're going to turn 45, and then we're going to move forward by 75. Move forward by 75. And then we're going to do that. I'm not sure who Vit's user is, but then we're going to do that turn, that 90-degree turn, also to the right. Let me just put that in nicely. Remember, we have to put our code in nicely. Forward by 175. Oh, I put jump. Sorry, guys. I selected the wrong one. Move forward. Turn right by 90 degrees. And then we're going to move forward by 75. Let's reset and run. There we go. And then we have finished our code. Now there's one or two more puzzles left for you guys to do. I want to go back to my slides quickly just to show you the code or the angles again quickly before we, sorry, I just want to change my screen here to my slideshow. Let me go back. Just want to go back to the, here we go. Back to this. Remember, we have to make sure we look at what direction our character is facing, and then that will decide. It's almost, you're going to have to think of using two compasses in your mind, okay? One will be to the left of where he is facing, and one will be to the right to where he is facing. Okay, this is just something we have to remember, but I can already see it's going better, and the more we practice, the better we will get at this. Okay, so what I want to leave you guys with today is a quote from Bill Gates, and he says, learning to write programs stretches your mind and helps you think better, creates a way of thinking about things that are helpful in all domains. And I think that's very true. The things we learn from coding and the way we think while we code is really helpful to any area of study that we get involved in. Like you saw today, we even doing some mathematical angles and we turns and which way to, and length. And so there's a whole bunch of things, critical thinking and solving problems that coding helps us with. So I want to encourage you guys, keep coding, have fun, and remember to send me your puzzles. I love getting your puzzles. I have received a couple, and you can send me your puzzles to mgeldenes81@gmail.com. So once you finished it, take a screenshot, email it to me, and I love getting your messages. If you have any questions about our school, you can still use the STEM Digital School at africateamgeeks.co.za. And then I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you again tomorrow. Same time, same place. Bye-bye, guys.